The plane landed with a big whoosh. People started clapping, so I clapped too. It felt strange though. I mean, why do people clap for landing? What if the pilot messed up? We'd all be doomed. Anyway, I was excited. A new country. I got off the plane and followed the signs, lots of arrows but none in English. Uh-oh. I found the baggage claim, grabbed my backpack and thought, no time to lose. Except now what? Where do I go? I started to feel a little panic. Deep breath. Remember what the guidebook said? Look for the bus to the city. Easier said than done. Everything was in squiggly writing. I had no idea what any of it meant. This is going to be interesting. I found a lady in a uniform and figured she might work here. I tried to ask about the bus. Excuse me, I said. She looked at me blankly. Oh, right, different language. I tried again, this time with more pointing and hand gestures. Bus, city, bus to city. She seemed to understand and pointed me towards a door. ZZ, I mumbled, hoping that was the right phrase. Outside, chaos, cars honking, people yelling, and the smells. Like nothing I'd ever encountered. I spotted a bus with a sign. More squiggly writing. This time I recognized one character. City. This must be it. The bus ride was an adventure. Bumpy roads, strange music blaring. I looked out the window. Everything was so different. Exciting and scary at the same time. Finally, we arrived at the city center. Time to find my hostel. I pulled out my crumpled map. The streets all had weird names. I tried asking for directions, but no luck. Everyone just stared at me. I wandered around for what felt like hours. It was starting to get dark. This was not how I imagined my first day. Suddenly I spotted it. The name of my hostel, written above a small doorway. Relief washed over me. I made it. The next few days were a crash course in non-verbal communication. Pointing, miming, drawing pictures, anything to make myself understood. Thank goodness for smartphones. I downloaded a translation app. Lifesaver. Ordering food was an experience. I tried to decipher the menu and ended up pointing at random dishes. Sometimes I got lucky, other times not so much. Once I ordered something that looked like soup, turned out to be cold noodles. Not bad, just unexpected. Despite the challenges, it was kind of fun. Like being a kid again, figuring out the world without words. And people were patient for the most part. They could tell I was trying. I started picking up bits and pieces of the language. Basic phrases like hello, thank you, and where is the bathroom. Essential stuff. Bought a little phrasebook too. Helped a bit even if I sounded like a robot reading from it. One day I was at a market trying to buy fruit. The vendor said something I didn't understand. I just smiled and shrugged. To my surprise, he laughed and repeated the phrase, slower this time. And then it clicked. He was asking me if I wanted a bag. I managed to say yes in his language. Felt like a major victory. Those small interactions kept me going. Each day I felt a little more confident, a little less lost in translation. Ordering coffee. Sounds simple, right? Not when you don't speak the language. First time I tried, it was a disaster. Ended up with a cup of hot milk and sugar. No coffee in sight. But I was determined to master this essential skill. Studied the menu, listened to how other people ordered. And finally, the moment of truth arrived. I walked up to the counter, took a deep breath, and said the magic words. "One coffee, please." And they understood. I even managed to ask for milk and sugar on the side. It might seem like a small thing, but that cup of coffee tasted like victory. It meant I was starting to crack the code, to navigate this new world on my own. What surprised me most was the kindness of people. Even when they couldn't understand a word I was saying, they were patient and helpful. Smiling goes a long way, I learned. There was this one time, I got completely turned around on the subway. Ended up miles from where I was supposed to be. Asked a young woman for help, using a mix of gestures and my trusty translation app. She not only pointed me in the right direction, she actually rode with me to my stop, making sure I got there safely. These acts of kindness, big and small, restored my faith in humanity. They reminded me that even in a foreign land surrounded by unfamiliar faces, there's always a willingness to help. As the days turned into weeks, I started to feel more at home in this strange new world. I developed a routine, made friends with the locals, even learned a few dance moves. Okay, maybe not dance moves. The fear of making a mistake, of saying the wrong thing, started to fade. I realized that people weren't judging me, they were just curious. They were happy to teach me about their culture, and in turn, I shared mine with them. It was liberating, to break free from the confines of my comfort zone to embrace the unknown. I learned that language is just one way to connect with people. Sometimes a smile, a gesture, a shared experience can speak volumes. Leaving was bittersweet. I was excited to go home, to sleep in my own bed, eat familiar food, but a part of me was sad to leave this place that had challenged and changed me in so many ways. I boarded the plane, a very different person from the one who had nervously stepped off it a few weeks ago. I was no longer afraid of the unknown. In fact, I had learned to embrace it. This journey, this adventure in Lost in Translation, had taught me more than just a few foreign phrases. It had taught me the importance of stepping outside my comfort zone, of embracing the unexpected, and most importantly, of the kindness of strangers. And those were lessons I would carry with me long after I returned home.